Thanks for tuning in, guys, and welcome back. I know it's been a while since I've posted a video, but this is something I've been wanting to go ahead and get up on the channel for a minute here. And as you can see, we are going to be replacing the lock on my Winchester gun safe here with a much beefier lock system right here from S&G. This is the S&G 6123 lock. Now, this is a new takeoff lock from a used safe, so it's decent condition, but you can see the size difference in the actual lock unit from the Winchester Chinese safe bolt mechanism compared to the S&G. Substantially larger, and all the different components that are included with these lock systems here. We have the electronic keypads for both, we have the backing plates for both right here, and this is actually the control motherboard for the Winchester safe, which the S&G does not have. It is built into the locking unit itself, so there's no need to mount a separate motherboard control unit separately. Additionally, I have the tools that you'll need to go ahead and complete this job as well. Your standard Phillips bit screwdriver, an auto punch here, a standard hardened drill bit, and I did find this out the hard way, that the front door of the safe is definitely hardened steel, so you'll need like a diamond or carbide tipped drill bit in order to be able to punch through that substantially, or sufficiently I should say, because standard drill bit, well, it'll just skate over the top of it and you'll get nowhere. I did have to hit it a couple good times with the auto punch in order to secure a good pilot hole. Standard drill end tip right here, and you'll see this block here, and I'll explain the purpose of that when we get over to the safe, but that is a template for mounting this here. And there are some difficulties that you're going to run into when you try to mount this substantially larger bolt unit here onto the safe door that I didn't really anticipate, because I didn't really take it apart and take a look ahead of time before I actually purchased this lock. But let's go ahead and head over to the safe and I'll show you exactly what I'm referring to. Okay, guys, so this is basically what you're going to be greeted when you open the door of your safe here. And you're going to have in the corners here a simple drywall bolt covered with a plastic end cap here, and that's going to go ahead and cover the screws that hold the drywall piece to the inner door shell. So what you're going to do is you're going to take that one here, this one here, and there's two more right in the middle of the door itself. You back the drywall screws out after pulling these plastic caps off here, and the door panel should just slide off, as you can see here. It just pulls away. Then you're going to be greeted with this. Now, obviously, yours is going to look a little bit different from what mine has, because I've actually already installed this safe lock before, and I'll show you the little hiccups that I actually ran into when doing this. So when you open the safe, you're going to see that the sliding panel here is actually covering the standard bolt that sits beside here and underneath like this. And the problem with the new one is that it's substantially larger. Oh, just lost my screws. And it does not fit underneath that sliding door. So when you rotate and pivot your handle, this sliding mechanism here rotates back and forth, as you can see. So if it can't slide over the top of the bolt mechanism, you cannot open and close your safe properly. So instead of mounting it underneath the board or the sliding bar here, what I did is I drew up a template with that block of wood and placed it here with a sticky back, just some 3M sticky back here, and I tapped the holes for it. Now you can see a total of 8 holes here, the 4 that I used to go ahead and tap from my new lock, and these 4 right here are the standoffs that actually held the motherboard for the old lock. Those just simply scroll out. They're plastic standoffs. You take the motherboard out and the standoffs screw right into these. Good to go. So with my template here, just a wood block measured to the same diameter of the existing new S&G lock. I drilled the holes in the corners here, put a piece of 3M sticky back here, placed it here, and used my auto punch to mark the inner steel part, so I knew exactly where to drill my holes. This is not hardened steel, this is soft steel, so you can get away with a standard drill bit here. It's going to go through it without any problem at all. So now that our template is made, sticky backs here, holes are punched. I drilled the inner wall holes for the lock. I simply tap them with a standard 1/4-20 screw, which is here, and you gotta find a screw that the head will actually fit into the hole of the S&G lock. You might have to grind the head of the screw a little bit in order to get it to work. This particular lock, I think it came with a smaller screw. I just wanted something a little bit better, so we used the 1/4-20 bolt thread, tapped it there, and now you can go ahead and screw it on. Now you can see that there's a little bit of grind marks on top of the bar, and that's I had to grind it down like a couple microns there because I mounted it a little too low. You can see my scratch mark here that I thought was the bottom center of that bolt line, and it did not go ahead and allow it to close until I shaved off just an absolute hair's breadth of metal on the top of this bar in order for me to be able to close the handle properly with the lock in the open and locked position properly. So once you're done with that, all you have to do is feed your electronic line, feeder line, which you can see mine is actually taped because I cut it because I'm a moron and I had to repair it. But you just feed it through the front of the safe, or the back of the safe here, to the front. So I'm going to go ahead and move the camera around and get you the front view of what's going on in the front here. As you can see, we have our through hole on the inside of the safe coming out. Now, the real pain is that the mounting plate for the new S&G lock, the screw holes do not align with the three remaining holes that the old Winchester lock had. So I did have to drill and tap another mounting hole. I'm only using 2 screws to hold on the mounting plate, and that thing's not going anywhere. It's pretty secure. And I found that self-tapping screws actually worked way better instead of using a tap, which you can see here. I broke my first tap off trying to mount the left hand side first, but the self-tapper screws, after I drilled my pilot hole with my hardened drill bit, was the way to go in the long run. So I'll go ahead and fast forward here a little bit for you guys after I get this all mounted up to show you what it looks like as a finished product. Okay, about 10 minutes later, we have a fully installed lock system here. We have it mounted to the inside panel here with the screws from the template that we went ahead and punched out and drilled. We don't need to do anything with the screws here, and obviously the motherboard screws are underneath that, so we're not worried about that. Our safe is in a lock position, so therefore it runs into the deadbolt. It does not lock. And when we put in our key, we can open the safe. So therefore we have enough clearance in order to clear this bar as it goes through here. So I'll show you the front side here. And as you can see, the keypad here looks fairly stock. Nothing out of the ordinary at all here. And it simply mounts here. You can rotate it off. And it's held on by our screws there. AA batteries. Ribbon cables plugged in. Just simply slides right on, just like the last one. And just a word of caution to anyone that wants to go ahead and do this: make sure you have the tools to do it ahead of time, so you don't take your safe lock off and sit around until you get the tools and have your safe completely wide open for anyone to access, especially in a house with children, being that this safe does hold firearms. You don't want them to have access to that. Also, make sure that when you do open your safe and you are doing work on it, keep it in the unlocked position so you don't accidentally lock yourself out without a way to get back into your safe as well. It'll save a lot of people some headache out there. If anyone has any questions on this install, please feel free to leave me a question in the comments below. And thank you for tuning in. Have a great day.